Well, hello there. Welcome back to Finish It Friday. Here we are again at the end of the week, ready to show what kind of progress we've made during the week on our projects. And I can share with you today that I have worked on the kaleidoscope quilt. I have two more of these. Can't hardly see the other one, but they're almost identical, other than this part right here is always different. But I did get two of those done. There's still, see, how many will I have left to do? I'll have two, and then three. I'll have 5 more to do, and then also my connecting pieces here. So it's kind of a slow project, but I think, you know, I'll have it here probably in the next month or so, all together in a top, I feel like. And then I've also been working on the Barnstar sampler. That's a sew along that Fat Quarter Shop is hosting, and it is these two here are block 1. This one is block 2. I have yet to do my second block 2, and I'm using, I probably mentioned it before, but I'm using Felicity fabrics, and I just kind of pulled together all that I had of Felicity because they do kind of interchangeably work with each other. And, you know, a little variation here and there is okay. Like on my 2 blocks here, I think I've mentioned before too that I did have to use a different green on this one. It doesn't matter. And then on this block number 2, which would have been for February's monthly block, I still have the second one to make. The only regret I have about this one is I wish I would have used this value of color out on the ends here. That's really what was asked of us in the pattern as far as color selection goes, but it'll be fine. And I'll do my second block similar to this, maybe change it up just a little, just for some variation like I did on the block 1. So yeah, I'm enjoying that. These blocks are huge. They're 24 by 24, so every time you make one you feel like you're making a whole quilt nearly, but it's fun. And then we've gotten started, or at least I've gotten started on my cactus pots. I have 6 of them here, so I'm halfway done with my cactus pots. And as you can see, I'm using those black and white fabrics for the bottoms. Some of them have a little bit of color to them, but most of them are, let's see here. Here's this one here has quite a bit of color to it. It's the same fabric line as this. And then I have a few more to do, and then I think I mentioned in the part 2 video that I had already cut my squares that go in between, and these are cactus pot. And if you want to join in on this sew along, there's 2 parts out there already. You can jump in now. This is an easy quilt to make. Setting it on point is not that big of a deal. The pattern, you know, it goes this way in rows, you know, there's 4 rows there. So you put it together like this, but when we actually put the whole entire top together, it'll be like this. So I did have some corrections to the pattern. I want to say nothing major, but for you it might be major. But I think you'll have enough fabric and everything to... What I think has happened is you probably have already cut way too many squares. These half square triangles that we make to make these, I over calculated, forgetting, as I have done before, that when you make a half square triangle you end up with 2 blocks, 2 little pieces that are blocks. So I have double out there what you need for the 4-inch blocks, the 4-inch squares. So for the background you need 36 4-inch squares. For the cactus plants you need 36 4-inch squares, and for the cactus pots you need 24 4-inch squares. And then once you make all of your required half square triangles, you're going to have some left over somewhere because, well, you just will. That's just the way it is with half square triangles. A lot of times you end up with way more than you need, but I had you ending up with way more than you need. So go ahead and just set those squares aside for another project, or hopefully if you haven't cut all of your fabric yet, then you don't have to cut as much now. Alright, so I'll put a PDF, yet another updated PDF in the description of this video. And what else? Oh, the link to the sew along, the part 1 and the part 2. So yeah, I'd be anxious to see how many of you are going to sew along with me on that. It's not a hard project. Jump in on it. It's getting warm outside, and we want to be, you know, starting to think about our gardens and our yards and things like that. So if you just want something simple and plant themed, then this might be a fun project for you. And I think that's all that I worked on this week. But that was quite a bit. I was supposed to work on the little landscape project from the retreat. Did not do it again. So that's about 3 weeks in a row now that I have not touched that. And I had it on my schedule for Wednesday to work on that. Actually, like, finish it. And I just didn't want to. You know, it's just one of those projects that I need to get my mojo back on that. And it's not back yet. So it's okay. I'll put it aside a little longer, and I'm not putting it all the way away, but I can see it. It's on my mind. The mood's going to hit me. It will hit me one day. That's just the way I operate. Okay, let's look at your finishes. We had some great ones this week too. I mean, they are all always wonderful, but all of these I just have so much to talk about. The first one we have is from Anne, and she says, this is a potato chip finish. Here is a potato chip block scrap quilt. I got the pattern from Brenda at Conquering Mount Scrapmore, one of her free pattern Friday patterns. This one is a charity quilt, and it was a lot of fun to make. And I love your scraps. Your scraps are yummy. Love them. Yes, Brenda at Conquering Mount Scrapmore. She gives a free pattern video every Friday. How to use scraps, different ways to use scraps. And this potato chip block, as you can see, you start out with a small square and then you just build around it. And I think it's called potato chip block because you can't just make one. Do you get it? So I like how you just went ahead and bound it as is. I think adding borders to it probably would have diminished the effect of the scrappiness of it. So that's a good call there, and good for you for donating this to charity. Very nice. A lot of work. It will be appreciated. And then Pat has sent us some curtain panels that she made also out of scraps. She says, I used the adding machine tape method to sew scraps and copied a quilt scene made by Kate at the Last Homely House website. They're not lined, but edges all bound. The light shines through like stained glass, and I love looking at all the scrap pieces. The oldest from my mother's Oregon Centennial dress made in the 1950s. So the oldest fabric in there is some fabric from her mother's Oregon Centennial dress made in the 50s. That sounds better, doesn't it? Yes, Kate from the Last Homely House. She has a YouTube channel, I'm sure many of you know. And in many of her videos, you see her curtain panels that she's made out of tiny blocks. And when the sun shines through, as does yours, Pat, it looks like stained glass. And it's just glorious. And you've got 2 large windows there with those. Very, very lovely. Dee Dee has a finish of a tote bag, and she says, this was a wonderful challenge I gave myself. My brain went through a good workout thanks to the inspiration I got from a friend's tote. I think she told me that her friend's tote needed some repair or something, And while she had it, she decided to kind of copy the way her friend's tote was made. The only difference between hers and mine is all the listed below. Patchwork. I used fusible fleece instead of batting. My handles also have fusible fleece. Hers doesn't. Mine has no visible seams inside. And I cheated and sewed the binding with my machine. That's not cheating. That's not cheating. I'm extremely happy with the end result. Yeah, I can see why. You got those nice prairie points on there. And your patchwork. That's just a great accessory for a quilter. You did a great job on it. Very nice and neatly done. Linda. This is the first time that Linda has sent something in. She said she's been quilting for over 30 years. And she owns her own quilting business called Threadneedle Quilting Studio. And she does have a website by that name. She says, so I spend most of my time helping others finish their projects. For 2023, I am making a concerted effort to finish some of my long-standing projects. This small table topper was found in a garage cupboard when I was looking for something completely different. I decided that I would get it finished and quilted. It is from a class I took with Kim Deal in 2012. The pattern is called Penny Garland. I'm not sure that the pattern has ever appeared in one of her books. It is mostly a wool applique project. All the wool pieces are attached using a whip stitch. It finishes at 30 by 30. All of the quilting is free motion, completed on my Gamel. I'm delighted to be able to put a quilt label on it and count it as finished. Yes, good for you. That's funny how you found that in an unexpected place and decided to just get it finished. You had done a lot of work on that, and quite a few years ago in Kim Dill's class. And you did a really nice job on the stitching there. Your free motion quilting is exquisite. I watch Annie or Anna on Quilt Roadies. She does a lot of this wool piecing, wool applique type of sewing. And I've often thought, oh, I would like to do a small project of that. But wool makes me break out. I must be allergic or something. My wool ironing mats, I have to like not touch them too much or I get itchy. But they do turn out beautiful projects, and this one turned out great. Linda on her website, she is from Eagle, Idaho, and she has all of her pricing out there for her quilting that she does for people, and her projects that she's done. She's got nice photos out there, so if you live in the Eagle, Idaho area, you might want to check her out if you need a free motion quilter and a long arm quilter. Jane, she has some little table pads here, small finish, but yet another new technique for me, she says. Can't you tell I'm a relative newbie? My first time trying scrap string blocks, and I made some table mats. I used Insulbright heat resistant batting. Very happy with my finish. As you should be. They turned out very nice, very summery. That'd be nice on a summer table. And you did a great job doing your quilting on there. Your straight line quilting is very simple and practical for table mats. Yeah, great job. Okay, Sun-Dyed Carol sent us another picture. This is from the past. She said, here's another rainbow oversized quilt queen quilt made with my sun-dyed fabrics. The melons are raw edge applique, which I now think that process is very time consuming with a lot of fabric waste. I will eventually make another melon quilt, but will piece the melons instead. I've made 3 pieced Drunkard Path quilts since this quilt, and they were the easiest and fastest quilts I've ever made with absolutely no fabric waste. I free motioned quilted small leaves on the white background and an abstract kind of palm design on the melons. And hopefully we're getting a picture there showing that. Very nice. Yeah, that makes sense what you're saying, how the drunkard's path wouldn't have any waste, because when you cut those out, you would be sewing them right back on to an contrasting piece, right? Like in this case, white. Giselle has been working on a retirement quilt for a male co-worker. And here it is. She's calling it Path to Freedom and hopes he likes it. He will like it. He will like it. It's blue and brown. And if you look at the overall picture there on the bed, you can see the path to freedom, and how appropriate for someone that's retiring, a path to freedom. Path right out the door to anywhere else, right? And she's done her triangular quilting around the edges, and also some, looks like stitch in the ditch and some echoing there. Very nice quilt for a guy. I love it. He will like it. And then another email just sneaked in here while I've been talking from Danae. So we're just going to go ahead and talk about it too. She says, attached is a wall hanging / table topper from the leftover blocks from a quilt top that I have yet to quilt. So these were some quilt blocks that she had left over that she wasn't going to use but had already made up, so why not go ahead and make a table topper or a wall hanging out of it. And we see that it could be used either way. She has her wall hanging sleeves on the back. The little things in the corner there will hold a dowel rod, and she could hang it on the wall or put it on a table. And it looks like she also has done some echoing around her, I believe those are called friendship stars, I think. And I love the scrappy colors there. It does look like it's from a line. I don't know what that line is called, but it kind of looks scrappy too. And I like your orange binding. Pulling that orange out of those blocks. I like that. Great job. Okay, so that's what we have for today. Thank you so much for sending in your finishes. They were great, and look forward to having some more next week. And I'm going to keep plugging along on this and this and this over the weekend. And who knows, I might just pull out some mindless project while I'm out here too. We'll see. Usually when I'm watching Soya on Saturday nights, their live fabric sale, I do something not so brainy. That way I can, you know, look and listen and shop and chat and all of those things. So I have my little 2-inch aqua square patchwork blocks that I'm doing, so a lot of times I'll do some of those. But anyway, we have lots to do as sewers and quilters. So I hope you have a productive weekend and find a little time to sew some and also enjoy your family. And hopefully you're having some good weather like we are here. You can get outside and get some sunshine, maybe get a little gardening done. It's a busy time of year. But if you want to join in on this sew along right here, these are easy, plant-based. Just kidding. So that's it. I will probably see you again here on Lessons Learned Monday for Monday Quilt Chat. Have a great weekend. Bye.